Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our second City Council meeting for the month of March. We are going to start with an opening prayer to be led by Pastor Tim Sizemore from Lighthouse Baptist Church. And then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by these bright individuals right here in green, the Junior Girl Scouts, Troop 60006, with the Girl Scouts of Historic Georgia and Heart of Georgia Service Unit. So if you will please stand while Pastor Sizemore starts us off in prayer.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father God, we just thank you. We come to you today with gracious hearts. Thank you for this community of Warner Robins and the freedoms that we enjoy, God, and for the opportunity for all to gather here today to do the business of this community, to serve them. God, we pray today for your wisdom. We know that all good things come from you. We know that you are the Father of all. And God, we just pray that you will bring your wisdom to this room, God. We pray for that you will just give the mayor and council strength to do the right thing when it's tough. God, to have unity among each other when they have differences for the greater good. God, we just thank you for the opportunity to serve all of these citizens here today. And we just pray for your mercy on this meeting here today, God, and just continue to bless this community with your love. May everything done here today be in your spirit and glorify your name. In Jesus' holy and precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Pastor Sizemore and the Junior Girl Scouts, if you could join us for a photo. We'll start with Pastor Sizemore first.
Don't drink my drink. No drinking my drink. Not at all. Oh. Hi. How's it going? To Julia, she said.
All right. Again, we want to thank those that came to open us off in our program this morning, this evening. Sorry, my mind's on we had a late start today for the city. But anyway, I officially now call today's meeting to order. All right, so I now will request a motion to accept the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda as is.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Lawrence, seconded by Councilman Curtis. All in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries. Now we are on to proclamations, awards, and presentations. We have one proclamation for the 50th Annual Dixie Crow Technical Symposium, and then we have our Employee Service Awards. If anyone is here to accept the proclamation for the Dixie Crows, if they would please come forward, and I will read the proclamation, then come present it to you here in the middle of the floor and get a photo.
Last year they had me speak. So. Okay, yeah, that's true. She will definitely ask.
Hi, how are you? Good, how are you? You want to say some words after I read the proclamation? Okay. You can see it right there and then get you over here. All right, so this is for the 50th Annual Dixie Crow Technical Symposium, which takes place March 22nd through the 25th of this year. And it goes as is. Whereas Sunday, the 22nd of March, 2026, will signal the start of the 50th Annual Dixie Crow Technical Symposium held at the Museum of Aviation in Warner Robins, Georgia. And whereas the event is sponsored by the Dixie Crow chapter of the Association of Old Crows. This year's event will focus on networking opportunities to enhance discussions regarding survivability requirements, intelligence, analyses, and technology availability throughout the electromagnetic spectrum. And whereas the Dixie Crow chapter of the Association of Old Crows is a vibrant professional organization that works diligently to preserve, promote, and advance electromagnetic spectrum technology in the defense of our great nation. And whereas the objectives of the association are the promotion of good fellowship, interchange of knowledge and ideas in the field, and the furtherance of electromagnetic spectrum capabilities. And whereas, with the complex and rapidly evolving techniques of the electromagnetic spectrum, there is a recognized need for the development of mutual understanding and an intimate military-industrial relationship. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by myself, on behalf of City Council and the citizens of Warner Robins, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, March the 24th, as Electromagnetic Spectrum Operations Day in Warner Robins, Georgia. I encourage citizens to show their appreciation and support of this worthwhile symposium and the efforts of this association for the defense of our great nation. May God continue to bless these United States of America. Let's give it up for the 50th Annual Dixie Crow Technical Symposium coming up next week. Okay. You can say some words at the end, and then we'll go present it to you and do a picture after.
Mayor Patrick, it's an honor to accept this from you, and 50 is huge, 50th Annual Symposium, and, I've been out at D.C. for the last couple of weeks and fly back, and they're like, we need you there as a president to accept. I said, I'm not even dressed. So they're like, go. I appreciate it, and it's I just tell you a little bit about the Dixie Crows and the Association of Oak Crows. It's professional men and women that work in the electromagnetic spectrum. Those are tough words to say, but most of us work in the local area, and every year, you know, the Dixie Crow is the local chapter. We're one of the largest chapters in the nation, in the world, because there are chapters around the world, and we want to make this year a great 50th, and thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll go this one. We'll do that. And we would like to thank again the president of the Dixie Crows, Mr. Rodney Brooks, for being here with us today. And you can always come to Warner Robins City Council meetings just as you are. We appreciate all that you all do in our community, and it's an honor to be able to host your welcoming event next week. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. So next is the Employee Service Awards. Ms. Melanie Byer, our Director of Human Resources, will come forward to present these awards.
All right, we have 2 employees that we're recognizing for service this evening. Our first, there you go, Mayor, is Michael Moriarty. He's our zoning assistant in the Building and Inspections Department with 5 years of service.
All right, so congratulations on your 5 years of service for the city of Warner Robins, working in planning and zoning now. Awesome to have you part of the team.
Okay.
And here is your service award for 5 years, and this is your
Mayor, and actually let me point out, this is Mr. Moriarty's second 5 years with the city. Thank you. And our next one for the evening is Miss Amy McKenzie. She is our records manager with the city clerk's office with 25 years of service.
All right, congratulations, Amy. 25 years, thank you for all your service to the city of Warner Robins. This is for you, and this is something you've earned. There's a nice pretty gem on there. Just to commemorate your 25 years. So this is for you. We appreciate you and all the roles that you've had in our city. All right, now that we've completed the proclamations and awards, we'll move on to the first item on our agenda, which is our work session items. We're going to be discussing our agenda today, as well as the year-end report for the Warner Robins Police Department to be given by Chief Fisher upon the closing of the agenda discussion. Mr. James Drinkard, he will be leading us in this discussion of our agenda.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to run through this with you. As usual, I'm going to do what I typically do when we have land use items. I'm going to start with those and then pick up the rest of the agenda. So as Mr. Curtis is making his way forward, I want to call your attention to this item that was handed out at the beginning of the session. This is property located at the corner of Russell Parkway and Lake Joy Road. You may recall a few months back when that went through a zoning process, you all requested that any plans that were submitted to the city related to that property, you wanted to be made aware of those. So these plans were received today, actually. All this is a frontage road that will be constructed on that property. It will give access to the site. And then as they're developing out the site, it will give access to the individual sections. We don't currently have plans submitted for how the property itself will be developed outside of that road. And while we weren't sure that a frontage road was necessarily what you wanted to see when it came in, we wanted to make sure that we did put it in front of you since it is a development plan. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Curtis, who will walk us through the rezoning case on tonight's agenda.
All right, so we have a rezoning request for property located at 1302 Fagan Mill Road from its current zoning of RAG to the requested zoning of R4. This property is located in what the Houston County Joint Comprehensive Plan refers to as a suburban residential character area, which promotes high-density residential developments. This petition was heard at the Planning Commission and was recommended for approval. One thing may be pertinent to point out is that whereas the county initially lodged an objection toward the land use of this property changing, they have since withdrawn that objection. I believe that to be on the basis that the owner and engineer were able to illustrate to them the merit of their project, which has now been revised to show 54 residential units in a gated community with a dog park and playground and pavilion. Generally speaking, with R4 as opposed to what we have seen a lot of recently, the planned developments, these are amenities that were shown voluntarily. And so therefore we do recommend that consideration be made to approve the request. And we do have a representative here to speak on behalf of the request if necessary.
Council members, do you have any questions or would you like to hear from the applicant?
I have a quick question. It was probably stated, but I just need to ask again. What type of units will these be that are planned for this development?
These are attached units. They resemble townhomes, although the property itself will be one single property, but they are split into individual units. It's probably more akin to duplexes in terms of their actual physical construction, but they are attached. They range from 2 to 5 attached buildings in a row. The site itself has one shared parking area that sort of spans the whole distance of the property in between the units.
And they'll be for home ownership and for rental? Will it be a mixture of both or just one?
So The current, in keeping in mind that this is a conceptual plan, and this is not a formally submitted civil drawing, this is intended to supplement the request to rezone as a point of reference and discussion. I would say that as it is shown, unless they are to create a public right-of-way that extends all the way to the back of the development, it would likely be limited to for rent units rather than for sale. And it's gated too, so it's all private.
Any additional questions on this item? Thank you, Darren.
Thanks.
Okay, with that, we'll move on and we'll go back to doing some things in typical order.
Mr. Drinkard?
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, did he say that the builder was here?
Yes, the
Or
applicant is here.
If
Brian,
they,
you wanna come
if they
forward?
wanted to say something additional, I always like to make sure they have the opportunity.
Yep, they're coming up.
It's just one that I think most of us aren't familiar with ahead of time, so I think it's good for us to hear from them.
Hey, my name's Darren Crozier. I really don't have anything. I could show you a little better through the picture. Maybe that'll help with what anything. So there's a site layout, and then there's also the building, but it's just showing 4 units now instead of the whole layout. But you can see it on the site plan.
Council, I'd also like to point out that the map that Mr. Curtis is holding is in your agenda packet. It's the last page of the packet.
And from Brian Braun with Access Engineering, from the site perspective, there is a right turn lane in, and there is a left turn lane already there. So for traffic purposes, you do have turn lanes going in both directions. And we were able to create additional green space. So I believe it's a gated community, so it's controlled. So I believe you'll have a very good product there.
Do y'all have a proposed timeline? I know it's pending approvals and everything like that. Timeline on the construction, when y'all are going to get started?
As soon as y'all say go, we'll get started. Everybody's on go.
Anything else?
Yep, I think we're good. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, so now we'll move on to our consent agenda. We have a number of items on tonight's consent agenda. I'll try to move through those. Of course, we have the meeting minutes from your March 2nd meeting. We have 3 employee promotions. As a reminder, these all went through a advertised period and was a competitive process for each position. But because our policies state anytime an employee is advancing inside the organization, whether they did so competitively through a hiring process or not, it's considered a promotion, and all promotions have to come in front of City Council. But we have 3 of those. In our utilities department, we have Mr. Felix Jackson. He's currently a meter reader. He's going to be, he would be promoted to utilities servicer. Evan Norton is currently a maintenance worker 3. He would become a maintenance crew leader. And then if he's still here, I'm not sure. Apparently it's Michael Moriarty night here at City Council. He would be moving from his current role of zoning assistant to a utilities inspector. Total cost, additional cost as resulting from these new positions would be $5,071. We have renewal of our pest control services contract, annual cost of $12,132. That is for across all city facilities. The recommendation is to go with National Pest Control. Of course, they're a local Warner Robins company. They've been servicing the city for a number of years very well. Have CredStar Revenue Solutions. This is consideration of renewing a contract with CredStar for debt collection services. They have quoted us a rate of 18% of the amount collected. That is unchanged from the current contract we have from them. I will go ahead and tell you, currently the city pays the 18%. That has been the case for a number of years. That was brought to my attention here in the last few weeks, and I will be bringing forward for your consideration a change to that policy that would put that 18% on the debtor rather than on the city. But that is not an item for tonight. Tonight is just the contract renewal. We have an HVAC maintenance contract renewal at $34,922.72. This is for our chiller and HVAC systems for the City Hall complex, which includes this building, the Civic Center, Annex A, Annex B, and we're adding the municipal court. Municipal court has still not had a maintenance contract, and their systems over there are showing that. The recommendation is to renew the contract with Hayes Services and add the municipal court. We have a rock, stone, and sand inventory item. This is for Public Works. This is the rock, stone, and sand they use throughout the year for maintenance, repair, and construction on city infrastructure. It has an estimated cost of a whopping $299.75, but of course we never know exactly what it's going to be because it's an on-demand. The recommended vendor is a business located here in the city of Warner Robins. Then we have renewal of a landscape maintenance contract for Keep Warner Robins Beautiful. This is a $126,518 contract with Paulk Landscape and Nursery. Keep Warner Robins Beautiful under this contract maintains 23 sites and over 500 trees around the city. Paulk Landscape received the contract, I believe it was last year when they first received it. We've seen a very significant change in the quality of product we're seeing. We're still working on some things as we would with any vendor. You always have to stay on top of them, but they've been doing a good job. We have a contract for water quality monitoring. This is $27,365. With integrated science and engineering. City's legally required to perform annual long-term water quality monitoring, submit reports to the Environmental Protection Division. Testing is conducted at 3 sites, Sandy Run Creek, Bagall Creek, and Caney Branch. They're collected and tested across 17 parameters, and the testing or the samples are pulled in wet and dry conditions. So we test wet and we test dry. And we do that 4 times a year, spring, summer, fall, and winter. If you want to dive deep into this and get into those 17 parameters, I'll be glad to bring Craig Woodyard up because there's words in there that I don't frequently use, and he knows what they mean. All right, then we move into some purchasing items. We have 2 related to the fire department. The first is a mold remediation at Fire Station 4 at a cost of $51,096.62. And the recommended vendor is Go2Clean. The station was constructed, this is the one up on North Houston, it was constructed in 2006. And it's been experiencing HVAC condensation issues beginning in 2015. A number of approaches have been used over the years to resolve issues there. But in 2025, we started to see those issues return. So we conducted testing on the facility. The mold is currently limited to the attic area, and so we want to jump on that before it progresses. Currently, the facility is safe for habitation and use, but if the mold moves out of the attic, we would have more significant problems. Secondly, we have a window replacement at Fire Station 6 at a cost of $17,913.82. This is removal and replacement of 14 windows at Station 6, which is over on Osegan. That station was constructed in 1999, and all the windows that are being replaced are original equipment. We're starting to see issues with water intrusion, condensation between the panes, and then some interior damage resulting from that. It was competitively bid, and in this case, Go2Clean, we actually put it out to bid twice. The first time we got no responses, so we went back through, started the bid process over, and we got one bid response from Go2Clean. And so they are the recommended vendor. Next, we have a contract renewal for cloud services with Laserfish. Laserfish, well, the cost on that is $97,691.98. Laserfish is the software system that we use for document management and records processing for the city. And this is for storage of all those electronic documents in the cloud. So that's the cost of the storage. And then we have the final purchasing item, a mobile device purchase for our utilities department in the amount of $56,555.27. This is for mobile field reading systems for our water meter system. This is one of those times when I'm actually surprised when I find out how old some of our stuff is. The units that are currently being used are 20 years old. They are no longer supported by the manufacturer. So if anything goes wrong, we can't get them fixed. They also do not integrate or communicate with our new Tyler ERP system. So we're having a lot of issues there. The recommended vendor is Itron. They are the sole allowed vendor. Well, they're the vendor for all of our meter systems. And then USS is the company that is the sole vendor that handles Itron in 22 states, including Georgia. Okay, so moving out of the consent agenda. First item of new business is an amendment to the Peach County Service Delivery Strategy. Now, as you all know, Georgia has what's called the Georgia Service Delivery Act. It requires cities and counties to come together periodically, negotiate for how services will be delivered to citizens. The intent of this is to eliminate duplication of services as much as possible and provide for the efficient servicing of taxpayers. The law does allow that a municipality can provide a service that a county provides if that service being provided by the municipality raises the service level from that provided by the county, and that is in fact the case here. Currently, Peach County operates one senior service center in the county. It's located in Fort Valley at the southern end, and the city of Byron wants to open up a senior center offering very similar services within its city limits on the north end. So now you would have two centers servicing the north and south end, making it easier for seniors to access those services. There is no cost or obligation in any way on behalf of the city of Warner Robins. It does not affect us, but because we are part of that service delivery strategy, it is required that we consider, and if we do support the action, that we adopt a resolution so indicating, and that is in your packets tonight. Our recommendation is that we do, in fact, support that resolution and help improve services in the Peach County portion of the city. Next, we have a request from a property owner for us to accept some donated parcels of land. These are located at 203, 205, and 207 Kirkwood Circle. These are undeveloped parcels. They are surrounded by city-owned parcels along Bagall Creek. So if we combine these parcels with the parcels we already own, you could later use the combined properties for a passive park, or you could just retain it as green space along Bagall Creek, which of course helps with water quality and intrusion into the creek. Currently, those properties, if we look over the past 4 tax years combined, those parcels generated a massive total of $212 in property tax revenue to the city, so we're not losing a lot by taking that off the tax rolls. Up next, we have the Recreation Facilities Concession Stand Management and Operations Contract. You will recall this was a work session item in our last meeting. It went through an RFP process seeking vendors to provide concession operations and management at our city recreation facilities. Bids were received from 3 qualified vendors, reviewed by a multidisciplined staff team. And tonight, the recommendation is to award that contract to Kings Q and More. They are a Warner Robins business. There is no cost to the city, but under the contract, the city would earn 10% of gross revenue per month. So we would actually gain from this. Again, the item was previously discussed in work session, but if you have specific questions or need to revisit any details, Mr. Puser is here, and I'm sure he would be happy to come forward to talk with you about that. Up next, we have the Community Development Block Grant Proposed Statement of Objectives and Usage of Funds. So as you know, the city is an entitlement community under the Community Development Block Grant Program, so we receive funding directly from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to aid in funding qualified programs and initiatives. The city is proposing to allocate and spend $510,000 in general or in federal CDBG funds, and we've outlined the specific projects and funding allocations for FY 2026, which is the second year of a 5-year cycle. We've got that detailed in a draft FY 2026 annual action plan. Staff tonight is requesting approval of the draft plan for publication purposes and solicitation of public comment. There is a required public comment period of 30 days minimum prior to our submission of the plan to the Fed. And so we are asking that we also be allowed to begin that process and run our public comment period from March 18th through April 20th. If you approve it, the plan documents would be available in our Community Development Department, which is across the way in the annex at 610A Watson Boulevard, over at the Nola Brantley Memorial Library, located at 721 Watson Boulevard, and on the city website under Government, Departments, Community Development. During the public comment period, anybody that has questions or comments would direct those to our own Ayanna Goodrum in our Community Development Department. They can be done in person, again, 610A Watson Boulevard, the gray annex building, or excuse me, the old bank building across the street. Or they can be emailed to Goodrum, that's AGOODRUM at WRGA.gov. If you have specific questions about any of the projects or initiatives that are in the 2026 draft plan, Ms. Hogan is here and would be happy to help respond to any questions on that. Up next, we have an appointment to the International City Tourism Board. So under OCGA 4813-51, the city collects 8 pennies in hotel motel tax. In accordance with that law, 43.75%, gotta love those strange numbers the state comes up with, 43.75% of hotel motel taxes collected by the city have to be expended for promoting tourism tourism conventions and trade shows by a private sector, not-for-profit 501c6 organization that we designate as our destination marketing organization. The International City Tourism Bureau is the organization that we currently have designated as our DMO, and their bylaws stipulate that one seat on the board of directors is to be appointed by the city of Warner Robins. Tonight, we're recommending that that seat be filled by Gracie Rigby. Typically, a DMO, the board members are folks who are heavily engaged in the travel tourism industry. Obviously, Rigby's entertainment complex is arguably one of the largest travel and tourism destinations in Middle Georgia. And Ms. Rigby currently serves, well, her title is marketing director, but her involvement goes far beyond that across all aspects of that complex. Additionally, she's served on a number of community boards and leadership positions, both in Warner Robins and statewide. So we feel like that is a good, strong appointment. Next, we have the 2025 small tax bill write-offs. So we did a review of property tax accounts and identified a number of accounts for tax years 2023 through 2025 that have remaining unpaid balances of less than $5. Collectively, across all those accounts, the outstanding balance is $351. The collective balance is $351.99, so less than $352 across all accounts. Frankly, the staff time and costs associated with trying to collect that exceed the value, and it's a standard operating practice to periodically write off lower debt like that so that the books can be balanced and closed. So that is our recommendation tonight, for authorization to execute those write-offs in a total amount of $351.99. And then finally, we have that rezoning petition that Mr. Curtis walked you through. Are there any questions that I can respond to or get staff to assist me with on any of these items? Mr. Larson.
The land transfer.
Yes, sir.
Seems like, wasn't too long ago, we turned down some offers from some land in that very same area
Yes,
with
sir.
the same thing in mind, but I'm not sure why is this being treated any different.
The primary difference between that, this instance and the others that were turned down a few years back is these properties are surrounded by properties the city already owns, where those were not. And so we have the opportunity to have a broader collective impact. Microphone.
The ones we discussed previously were surrounded by city property because they were all down the Bagall.
It's not one larger collective tract like this is. It's a small number of linear pieces in that previous instance. You may recall that a while back we considered again that particular item, and there was discussion among some of you about potentially wanting to walk that property that was discussed in previous years. The owner of that property is still open to that, and we can certainly do that if you'd like to consider that property at a later date.
I just think we shouldn't treat the two properties differently. I think that they both have the same potential benefit to us, and I would hope that we would, I'm not opposed to these properties tonight, but I'm also in favor of looking at those properties again.
Okay, sir. Certainly, from the staff perspective, we'll go whatever direction council wishes. As I remind you from time to time, my job is to give you advice and to execute your will. So whatever the will of this council is, I will happily execute that for you. Yes, sir.
And may I add one brief fact as well, just for general edification, and I know that Mr. Woodyard is here on behalf of Stormwater. I think in the staff discussions about the differences or similarities, depending on your perspective, between these two pieces of prospective properties, is that the item on agendas tonight does not have Bagall Basin on the plat, and so the restrictions that apply to those pieces of property would not apply to this, so I believe it makes the maintenance and upkeep of it lower. So I think that's a distinguishing factor, and that the prior submitted property is marked as part of the Bagall Basin, which I know you gentlemen are very familiar, that when you move sand in the protected state waterway, it's a different level of regulation, so I think that's another differentiating factor.
It is. Thank you, Ms. Mize, for bringing that forward. Mr. Woodyard had advised me of that and asked me to make sure that I shared that, and sure enough, I forgot to, so. Any additional questions?
I do have a question about item number 6.
Okay.
In the contract, we have the attachment A. Exhibit A is not included, but I know our team is looking for the document. But just for clarification here, does Exhibit A show the parks that Kings Q would operate out of, and any kind of, what's included in that exhibit that
So
we don't see?
It's actually designed without specificity of exact parks so that we can expand that. It's certainly intended to include North Houston, Simpson Peavy, I'm drawing a blank, the one where we play football. Tanner, thank you. Those are the primaries, but we can add to that any facility, and it's really intended to support any place that we have active, organized activities going on. Part of the reason that the team liked and preferred the Kings Q proposal was their plan for how they could flex and expand, bring on additional staff as needed to support the main facilities. Kings Q also operates a food truck, so any place where we need to have support but don't have kitchen facilities, they would be able to draw from that as well. The owners of Kings Q have operated have operated in the food and beverage industry for a number of years, including operating as regional directors for larger chains. So they kind of have a good understanding of how to handle that ability to flex.
And for this vendor, I think I know who they are. I think I've seen the truck before. And I think they also provide like barbecue items. Will they be selling those items in addition to the menu they're providing us? And if they do, do we get 10% of those sales as well, or is that treated separately in there?
So the contract would cover 10% of sales at any of our venues. And, you know, they have not specifically indicated that they plan to use any of their normal menu items, but they haven't said that they would not. Mr. Poozer, would you like to add anything? You're correct.
Good evening. They specified their normal concession stand fare. Hot dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers. There is a barbecue sandwich on there. Nachos, chips, assorted bags, popcorn, soda, water, Powerade. But we did want kind of most of the time they are going to be in the ball field setting, baseball, softball, football, soccer. So we wanted that, and we wanted the price for their items to be cheap enough.
And if in fact they do sell other items that are not on the discounted menu pricing, like grown-up items, grown folks' food, I just want to make sure that the contract would include the profit sharing on those items as well, even though they're not in the discounted menu.
It does. So the contract, in the electronic packet, the contract is on page 118. Second page, item 4, contract price. Contractor shall pay 10% of gross revenue per month to the city on or before the 10th day of each month following execution of the contract, and then it specifies the mailing address and point of contact. Concession prices are to remain firm for the entirety of the contract as provided in Exhibit A, menu and pricing. No modification of menu pricing or item offerings may be made unless such modification receives written approval by the city.
Thank you. I just had a question about that particular piece of the item. And I have one other question too, but Councilman Holmes waiting, so let me let him go first. Go ahead, Councilman. Oh, the concession stands that we usually operate that sells candy and popcorn and Gatorades and things, will the city still operate that, or will all that go underneath King's Q for those, candy items, smaller items?
The intention is that King's Q would do all of that. We wouldn't be staffing the concession stands of the facilities. The benefit to us is we don't have to pay staff to be there. So we wouldn't be selling that. But.
Thank you.
Mr. Holmes?
Thank you. My question, I guess, is a follow-up to that, a piggyback. Will we be responsible for any items left in the concession stand, or will there be any items left in the concession stand that the city will be responsible for in case of disappearance? I use that term instead of something else.
I think under the contract, at paragraph 7, the contractor is, yes, sir, I'm sorry. At paragraph 7, the contractor is responsible for maintaining all inventory and for properly securing the facilities as directed by the city. So I think the answer to your question is the contractor, in this case, King's Q and More, will be responsible for both securing the facilities which house any products and for the inventory itself.
Madam Attorney, will they be secured inside of our facility?
I don't think the contract speaks to the specificity of where they might store their items. I don't know with cold and hot, but anything left inside a city facility will be the responsibility of the contractor. But if they take items home, I don't know if that would be covered inside this contract.
My only concern is that we, the city, don't become liable for what might disappear that was left over by this company.
And I don't think under the terms of the contract, the city would be. That obligation will fall on the contractor.
Yeah.
And I believe there's also a requirement that they carry commercial insurance.
Correct.
Maybe $1 million, which is typical in the industry standard, and I think GIRMA. So that's another safeguard in the instance of any issue that might arise.
I don't want to beat this. I don't want to let something slip through the cracks. Our kids are going to be in these facilities, and things will disappear. I'm simply asking the question, will there be anything, and maybe I need to say it this way, will there be anything left in the building to be stored by this company?
There could be product left in areas. Those areas would have to be secured by the contractor, and they would be the contractor's liability, not the liability of the city. That's covered in items 7.5 and 7.6 of the contract specifically.
Do we have a potential revenue amount that we would probably receive, an estimate, and how would we be tracking sales?
Really don't know. We'll be communicating with them on how we're going to track that. Most likely inventory in, inventory out.
Mm-hmm.
And we would communicate with them each month.
And there's also
Exhibit B in the contract spells it out.
there's a monthly reporting requirement.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay.
Right, just for the record, I was speaking with clerk and city attorney, and when I looked over it, I noticed there was no capability for us to audit records if something comes up fishy, because sometimes, human error, just to say. So I was asking if we could pencil in, make an amendment here, adding in the city will have the right to audit records if circumstances at our request.
Yeah.
So just a safety measure.
It's not uncommon to have in there that the city reserves the right to audit upon request. It's a fairly common clause in a contract like this.
Okay, thank you.
Additional questions?
Actually, do we have a calculation of how much money it's actually going to save us? Have we thought about that?
Opening day of Little League, I had 5 staff in the concession stand making about $12 an hour. So it's going to save us a lot of staff time. Our intention every time we're open, going doing games, they're going to be at there. And that's whether we could have multiple sites going on at the same time. They would be covering it. So really just the staffing costs is really going to be our savings, and then whatever we make is actually gravy. I hate to say that.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we do an event there with the cheer team that my kids are on. There's hundreds of people in there. I know the last 2 years the concession stand worked for about an hour and then it shut down. They would be at events like that too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they make a fortune of that one, I promise.
By those people, you mean you, right?
Just one more piece.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, this is breeding a lot of questions we didn't have before, but now we do, including myself. I just want to, what Councilman Lashley just mentioned made me think a little bit further. In cases of emergency, when the truck can't get to a location, or staffing demands, or something happens and they're not able to man a very important event that we want to always keep concessions open, will Parks and Rec have a backup option that we can activate with proper notice in those situations, so we don't have the situations where it's operating for 1 hour and then shuts down, but we have several hours left and there's no concessions?
With proper notice, we absolutely could. If we knew if it was the day of, we'd have to bring staff in and buy stock and everything else. So with proper notice, we would absolutely be able to.
Thank you.
Any remaining questions on this or other agenda items? All right, seeing none, I'd like to ask Chief Fisher to come forward. I see Crystal pointing like he's behind me. Chief Fisher is going to walk us through the year-end report for the police department. You'll recall at our last meeting there were reports left at each of your seats with a good bit of data. We asked you to prepare any questions and whatnot, but he's going to give an overview for the benefit of the public and then respond to any questions. Chief?
I wish to thank you all for this opportunity to come before you to showcase the Warner Robins Police Department and what we've done through the year. I'm going to be pretty brief to allow time for you to present any question which you might have. The significant point I wish to bring forward is year after year, we have situations within the community and the news that tries to paint a picture of crime going up in our community being less safe than it has been in the past. Those are not accurate reflections to the community. In that document in which I provided to you, shows analytical data points along the way. But the significant points I wish to touch base with is when we look at 2020, the population of the city was roughly 80,579 persons. We received and completed 17,109 incident reports. And of those 17,109 incident reports, you had 11,096 that identified victims. When we looked at that as a relation, incident reports where the victims were other than law enforcement or society, that reflected to 8,851. of which that is a 10.98% percentage of individuals not law enforcement reported as victims based off the population that you have. And when we look at Group A crimes, we had 8,067. Group A crimes are crimes that are serious in nature, up on the FBI reporting for connivance that deal with crimes against persons, financials, and things of that nature. When I come back to 2025, because I'm skipping those years in between because I will stipulate here, there had been a continued decline in those reporting numbers while the population, as we are aware, kept increasing. So when we look at the close of 2025, the population of Warner Robins was 87,604. We took in a total of 15,073 as compared to 17,109 incident reports. Of those reports where we had victims identified, we took in 9,381 comparative to, in 2020, the 11,096. When we look at incident reports where we had victims identified not being law enforcement, in 2025 we had 7,383 compared to the 8,851 that was reflected in 2020. When we look at the percentage based off of the incident reports where people were reported as victims in relation to the population, that number was 8.42%. So if you look at 10.98 to 8.42, it's reflective that, again, we are having a positive effect in crime reduction impacts within our community, while in fact we have growth within our community and population increase and density increases where you would normally see a trend of an increase of crime. When we look at Group A crimes, again, the more serious crimes in 2025, we had 6,127 incidents that were reported in comparison again to 2020, which had 8,067. Again, statistically, numerically, those numbers are dropping, reflective to our community as a whole. This is not through just any one single effect from the Warner Robins Police Department. While it would be great to sit there and say we were the answer all to that solution set, by doing so also acknowledges that if it were to go up, we're 100% responsible for that as well. And you have to accept and acknowledge that these efforts and impacts are through the impacts and relationships within the community. The Warner Robins Police Department since 2022, when I became the interim chief, and in 2023 when I became the chief of police, has been very engaged with our community engagement, working on key principles and factions of looking at education within the community, identifying where the problems are at and working within the community and having town hall meetings to engage in these conversations, become better connected within the community to understand. We've also been very engaged with our impacts and engagement within the youth community, understanding that our youth are the future, and it has been observed in these areas where a lot of the crime that we've had increase, we're dealing with youth as it was. And amongst that, we have embraced technologies, increasing our abilities with technologies with the support within the community, and then lastly, in through the enforcement actions when there need to be taken place. It's through these collaborative efforts within the community, the city government, and our law enforcement partners through the Middle Georgia area and Houston County, that is reflected into these reduction in crime and these numbers coming through. We've also taken a separate approach in how we look at trying to work on certain enforcement aspects. In the past, we've looked at trying to resolve a lot of drug problems within the community as just dealing solely with that localized problem, where underneath this administration, we focused into more deep-rooted issues from a systemic issue within that community, and as a whole with that type of drug problem that we're facing with, whether it be fentanyl or within the neighborhood narcotic sales. One of the key points that I draw success to off of 2024 is when we talk about Wendon Way. And I have some representatives here from the Wendon Way community that were a victim of that plight, what had gone on for over 25 years from a routine manner of approach through the enforcement trying to make the individual drug sale enforcements at those locations. Working through the partnerships and with the Houston County District Attorney's Office, Georgia Bureau of Investigations, a multi-year investigation took place that involved the RICO case and Georgia Street Games terrorism case being made with those involved within that community. And I'm here to say, and through support within the community of those that reside in that community, that is much quieter and safer in that point. And that is, again, working with a partnership of all parts there into. While I say this, we have to acknowledge in certain areas, though, we have had an increase of crime. Those crimes that we have seen increases with are areas that we have difficulty in having a direct positive impact with. And those are dealing with embezzlements frauds and forgeries, things of that nature, the financial. We do work through standpoint of education within the community, within the elderly and those that are vulnerable, that are prone to susceptibility of fraud cases, that are through text messages or through computer-based. But those are very difficult given those offenders generally are speaking outside of our community as a whole. The other was what we saw this year with domestic violence. While the sheer number of domestic violences did not significantly increase, what we did see in 2025 was a rare phenomenon nationwide where the violence had been at an extreme level. In Houston County, we were no different than many parts of the country. Though we had an increased number of fatalities through these investigations, the number of homicides we had statistically were on average with the years prior as far as events. It's just those events had multi-victims into it. Again, when we look at those types of crimes, there's very little that law enforcement can do to prevent such matters because they happen inside the confines of one's home. And again, working countywide and through the city, pushing on to an education standpoint within the community to have a better address, to hopefully have a positive impact into reducing those crime points. But on that, with what I presented to council and mayor, there was a lot of information. So if there's something that there's more specifically that is desired to be answered to, I turn the questions over to council.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chief. Excellent job.
Madam Mayor, if there are no additional questions, that would conclude our work session.
Thank you, Mr. Drinkard. Any additional questions, gentlemen? All right. All right, so now we're going to move on to the remaining portions of our agenda. And we'll start with item number 2 is for formal public comment about any listed agenda item. If you have a question, comment, or concern about item number 3 through 10 on our agenda, you do have 3 minutes at the podium. Please state your name and address for the record. Please note that council and I are listening, though we may not respond to you. If you have a general question or comment, you will have another opportunity at the close of our agenda to make those comments known. So if you have an agenda, sorry ma'am, did you want to make a comment? If you approach the podium first, and then you'll get an opportunity to pass those out. Yep. Okay. You will have another opportunity at the end of the agenda to make your comments known. All right, we do have our first individual. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Carolyn Mitchell. My address is 506 Deeks Boulevard. I just passed over that. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have a couple of questions regarding sports concessions contract awarded. The first, my question are regarding the sports concessions contract awarded. The first question is who received the bid awarded for concession, please, which you guys already stated and stuff, that the name Kingsman. Are these contracts recipients of Warner Robins citizens who otherwise support the community? And what process was used to inform bid applicant of vendors chosen? Were bids received for individual concessions, or was one vendor selected to operate all concessions simultaneously? And the reason I'm asking that question, because when I put my bid in, it was for each concession stand. You stated which one you wanted, and it didn't state that it was for all of them. My questions arise from my recent application expressing an interest in operating a concession at North Houston Sports Complex, 900 North Houston Road. I have previously provided the City of Warner Robins concession both at Fountain Park Pool on Kimberly Road and the Warner Robins Recreation Department at 800 Watson Boulevard. My applicants include provision for 10% of gross proceeds to benefit the city, and it was submitted in a timely manner. I have had a little bit of difficulty in receiving a copy of my bidding sheet to verify the bidding process. I'm a committed Warner Robins citizen with a true heart for serving my community. I strive for excellence and goodwill in tasks that I undertake. My desire to partner with the city in concession operation is an extension of the love that I hold for the city and the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Will there be any others? Going once, going twice, the door is now closed. We will now move on to item number 3, which is the consent agenda to be discussed by Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Discussions of the consent agenda. Having said that, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Holmes, seconded by Councilman Lashley. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 4 is a resolution for the delivery strategy for Peach County to be discussed by Councilman Curtis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A motion to approve a resolution that Peach County Service Delivery Strategy is hereby adopted as the official service delivery strategy to be updated from time to time as required in Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated in 36-70-1, and that the mayor of the city of Warner Robins is hereby authorized to place the service delivery strategy on the appropriate forms prescribed by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, to execute those forms in the proper place, and to submit the service delivery strategy to the Department of Community Affairs for the verification in compliance with OCGA 36-70-26.
I second that motion.
Motion by Councilman Curtis, seconded by Councilman Holmes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 5 is a resolution for land transfer to be discussed by Councilman Lawrenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I motion to approve a resolution to authorize the City Attorney's Office to begin the process of transferring ownership of the Houston County tax parcel IDs 0W034A0020000, 0W034A003000, and 0W034A005000, approximately .84 acres of property located at Kirkwood Circle, to the City of Warner Robins, to include, but not limited to, the ordering of the title work and the commissioning of the plat of survey. Again, I motion to approve.
I second.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Curtis. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 6, a resolution for Kings Q and More to be discussed by Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve a resolution to authorize Mayor LaRonda W. Patrick to execute the attached contract between Kings Q and More as the contractor and the City of Warner Robins, Georgia as the city, for a contract term beginning March 16, 2026 and ending March 15, 2027 for the operations and management of concession stands during athletic programs and events held at City of Warner Robins parks and facilities.
There's a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Lashley, seconded by Councilman Curtis. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Having heard a statement, individual approach the bench about the concerns, I would like to respectfully request that this be held off until the next meeting.
Any further discussion?
Can we amend for a tabling of this until the next meeting? Okay. Then I would like to withdraw my initial motion and table it before the next meeting, please.
There's a motion to table on the floor.
I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Lashley, seconded by Councilman Lawrenson. Any discussion?
table until the next scheduled meeting date, which would be April 6th.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of motion on the floor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. This is tabled until the next meeting, which is April the 6th. Item number 7 is a resolution about the CDBG proposed statement to be discussed by Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, I come before you with a motion to approve a resolution that the mayor and council of the city of Warner Robins 5-year consolidated plan and FY 2026 proposed statement of objectives and projected use of funds be adopted and approved, and hereby authorize general publication of same. Again, I move for adoption.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Holmes, seconded by Councilman Lashley. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 8 is a motion for a board appointment to be discussed by Councilman Curtis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A motion to appoint Gracie Rigby to serve as the City of Warner Robins appointment on the Board of Directors for the International City Tourism Bureau, Incorporated, and authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Curtis, seconded by Councilman Holmes. Any discussion? I do want to state for the record that this board appointment would replace a board seat that the elected mayor of Warner Robins holds in their official capacity. It was explained by Mr. Drinkard, but I do want to put it on the record. That's the significance of this appointment. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 9 is a motion for small bill write-off to be discussed by Councilman Lawrenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I motion to approve the write-off of remaining balances of property tax bills in amounts less than $5.
I second.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Curtis. Any discussion? I do want to state on the record, just for a reminder, for our citizens to hear, the write-off amount is a little over $300. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 10 is an ordinance for annexation to be discussed by Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the ordinance for annexation of property requested by Hari Krishna B. Patel and Chital H. Patel of property including all right-of-ways totaling 4 acres located at 1302 Fagan Mill Road, also known as tax parcel 000-770-013-000.
I second.
So there is a motion and a second on the floor. Motion by Councilman Lashley, seconded by Councilman Curtis. I do have to ask officially for the record, Councilman Lashley, do you wish to waive the second reading or proceed with the second reading?
Yes, I'll waive the second reading.
Okay, so there is a motion by Councilman Lashley waiving the second reading, and seconded by Councilman Curtis. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And there is a rezoning petition for Councilman Lashley.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the rezoning request of same property from RAG, or Residential Agricultural District County, to R4 Multifamily Residential District City.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lashley, seconded by Councilman Holmes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. We have made it through the numbered portions of our agenda, and now entering the portion where the citizens can make their comments. In general, if you have a comment to make in front of council and I, you will have 3 minutes on the rotunda. The clock is right above the rotunda. Please state your name and address for the record. The floor is now open.
I'm Joseph Kelly. Formerly had a studio at 339 Margie Drive up until February of this year. I'm here to talk about crime, and I've had this conversation in my head probably a dozen times in the last 5 months. After listening to the chief speak, my thoughts have changed a little bit. I first brought a matter to council and mayor's attention in December, and I've been mostly ignored. I'm a victim of a crime by an attorney named James Rockefeller and his wife, Anna Rockefeller. When I contacted Warner Robins Police Department to make a report of this crime, Sergeant Mann told me he's not going to take a complaint from me. He then picked up the phone and called James Rockefeller to inform James Rockefeller that I was filing a criminal complaint against him. He then contacted the detective that was investigating James Rockefeller's false complaints and told her not to contact me. An unnamed lieutenant then directed this detective to do the same thing. I've watched body camera footage from these two officers. Officer Hess, detective...
Sir, I'm so sorry. Your time will not be impacted by this, but whenever someone's at the podium, they have to refrain from saying actual employees' names, but you can discuss those off the podium. Thank you.
So these officers are engaging in confirmation bias. They're ignoring exculpatory evidence. I've identified at least 19 Warner Robins Police Department policies. They're filing false reports. They're putting in their reports false statements. They are proven by Warner Robins records that I've obtained through Open Records Act. And I am doing my best to try not to escalate this to litigation, but I keep getting ignored. And there's been a perfunctory investigation conducted at my request after 5 months of threatening litigation that was ignoring all of the evidence in your Warner Robins Police Department's possession. Body camera footage of these officers having not spoken a word to me, calling me. I know a lot of these faces here, Mr. Curtis. You may not remember me. Mandy, I'm delighted to see your face and promotion. I did a lot of work with Chief Evans, a lot of conversations in this city. I've advocated for law enforcement community relations in my years here in Warner Robins, telling stories like that of Sergeant Wood, Porter Wood of the Warner Robins PD. And I'm not here vindictive, mean. I want my name and the integrity of my name to stay intact. And I'm not getting that from the Warner Robins Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Will there be any others?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Today, I want to thank you for your continued dedication to our city and your partnership with the Finance Department. I appreciate the long hours and hard work each member of Council has invested in making the city of Warner Robins a wonderful place to live. As the Finance Department celebrates Government Finance Professional Work Week in Georgia, we want to give each of you a token of appreciation. Those are the greenbacks that you have in front of you. Our partnership, Your partnership with the Finance Department ensures that the taxpayers' dollars are spent properly and that those dollars are used to improve our community. Your leadership and your commitment to improving our community, particularly in the redevelopment in downtown Warner Robins, our parks and roads improvements to safety, as well as increasing the events that our citizens enjoy, reflect the dedication and love for our community that finance shares with you. The Finance Department would like you to know that your work does not go unnoticed. Thank you again for your partnership as we celebrate our Professionals Week from March 16th through the 20th. We're going to really kind of love on our finance team, but we can't do it without your work. We are a team, and that's what makes the community great. And I just wanted to give you a token for your services.
Thank you, Dr. Hall, and we appreciate all that you do, your leadership for our finance department and your entire team. Thank you. Will there be any others? Going once, going twice, the door is now closed. Now we're moving on to council comments. And we will start with Councilman Curtis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, Amy, I think she left. Congratulations on your 25 years. That's amazing. I did not realize she had been here that long. I knew it was at least 19, maybe 20, but I did not realize it was 25. So thank you for your dedicated service. I'm glad to see that everyone's safe from the storms that came through this morning. That's a blessing. Happy Woman History Week. I know, brothers, y'all probably gonna get mad at me about this one right here, but I promise you, if I have a task that needs to be done, if I give it to one young lady, it'll get done. That same task, most of the time, it's gonna take 5 men to get it done. So, that's just facts. Just facts. So, congratulations to all the women that has done magnificent things for the city of Warner Robins, and I pray that everybody have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Councilman, and we love your interpretation of how great a woman is during Women's History Month. Next up, we have two that are not present, so we're moving on to Councilman Lawrenson.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor. I appreciate that, and I miss my friends tonight. Look forward to seeing them again soon. A couple of things. First of all, Jeremy Furman, once again, well done. What a great State of the City event. I mean, it was a spectacular event, and I know there were a lot of things that went into it, and I'm calling your name out, but I know you had so much help from so many people, and I'm going to leave that up to you to acknowledge those, because I can't begin to name them, but just for leading that effort, tremendous. And Mayor, you're a great communicator, and you did a fantastic job communicating our vision, our message, and you keep that on the forefront all the time. And I think it really helps to move our city forward, and it helps us accomplish all that we want to accomplish because of how we communicate. And so thank you for doing that. And I really, really enjoyed it and was very, very impressed by all that went on. So thank you so much. Mr. Kelly, this is very alarming. I mean, I'll say this, that we certainly need to consider what you said tonight and find out if there's something that we need to be doing better. So hope we can get to the bottom of that. Dr. Hall, thank you for the treats, but most of all, thank you for all that you do in your department for really moving that finance department forward, and all the great things that have happened the last couple of years. We really appreciate it. And, you know, as we go into our new budget year, we really appreciate it even more because it makes that so much easier. So thank you all for coming tonight. God bless. Everybody stay safe, and hopefully this will be the last little cold snap of the year.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've gotten to see a lot of the firsthand damage from a lot of these storms. Most of it was up in Macon, which they got hit hard twice now. And some of the same houses that were hit by a tornado last week got hit again this morning. But keep those families in your thoughts and prayers. And, you know, luckily, I don't think there was any injuries or anything like that, but it's definitely turned the world upside down for a lot of those people. So just keep those folks in mind. Other than that, there's really not much for March. I mean, it's kind of a, I mean, we've got the, again, Jeremy, excellent job on the state of the city. I know my wife actually said that was the best stream she's ever seen. It was like perfect. So we had no buffering, no anything. She was somewhere in South Georgia, and she actually pulled over and watched the entire thing. It's like, God, you have anything to do? No, I'm just kidding. But, and again, everybody, again, thank you, Dr. Hall. Appreciate it. Appreciate the work you do. Appreciate everything you're doing for us. I know we're coming up on that fun time of year again. So it never ends, does it? Just check one box, move to the next box. And again, Women's History Month, I would be remiss if I did not honor all of the women in my life, particularly the 4 that are in my house that can beat me up while I'm asleep. So to all the women out there, my mother, who is a rock, and everything that she does, thank you for guiding me as a young man, teaching me to be the man I am today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Now, Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Mayor. And it's already been said, but I'm going to say it again. The state of the city was outstanding. You did a marvelous job, and I'm so proud of you. Jeremy, you're the man. You're the man. Thank you so much. Dr. Hall, I hadn't even touched the green bag. I didn't know what was in it, and I still don't know. But I thank you for your thoughts, your department, for what you do every day to keep us out of the news in a negative manner. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman. And for me, I do want to remind everyone that there is a really cool celebration coming up at the end of this month on Thursday, March the 26th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's the start of our food truck roundup series, our third Thursdays. So we're starting back on that date. We will have live musical performances, plenty of food trucks, and a kids zone, and we will have an Easter egg hunt. So please come out, share it with all your friends and family. We have a record number of individuals come out every year for this event. It continues to enhance and grow bigger. So thank you for supporting it, and we look forward to having a great time celebrating together in unison the end of this month. Also want to mention that the appointee that council just approved for the International City Tourism Bureau Incorporated, that is affiliated with the Museum of Aviation Foundation, Miss Gracie Rigby. She is here. Congratulations on the appointment, Miss Rigby. Thank you for accepting the charge and for your willingness to be a great asset for the city of Warner Robins and serving in that capacity. To everyone that helped make the State of the City another success, thank you so much. The vendors that were there, they donated their time, they donated whatever goodies they gave out, and especially the food and drink vendors who could have charged an umpteenth amount of money for the great food that they gave for free to the city. I really want to the community to understand and see and appreciate how those vendors chose to love on us, everyone who was in that building. And I want us to show the same love back to them and even greater. Usually events that council and I and staff puts on for the State of the City, you pay per seat or per table. I think some of them are charging, $50 a person for some of these types of addresses that come with food, but council and I are adamant to bring services to our community and not charge for things that the community supports, such as this. So I just want to make sure you understand how significant it is to have so many vendors added on each year giving free food and beverages when they could very well require us to charge per person and admission to come to that event. Also, the entire team that made it happen, I'm just going to make it easy like this. If you played a significant role in making State of the City possible, all the months and weeks and hours of planning, if you would just stand up so that we can give you a good round of applause and thank you for everything. And if you don't stand up, I will call you out, so you may as well do it anyway, in any capacity. And if you're already standing, wave your hands really hard. Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we didn't see Christy Hall stand up, and we also have some men in the back who didn't wave their hands, and I don't know if Drinkard stood up. And we don't have, we have Poozer. I didn't see him wave his hand for his teams that aren't present. But there is a group effort, and Chief, I didn't see you wave. Did you wave? Oh, he did, good. And there's probably more, and Chief, I didn't see Chief Wright either, but if you follow what I'm doing, I'm illustrating how much of a group effort this is, and they don't ask to be acknowledged, but they do it from their heart. We have all the departments in the back too that played a part in this. So I just want to say a huge thank you. Council and I want to give all of you an air hug on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And with that, yes, Councilman.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask us to recognize Mr. Greg Balky here from the Middle Georgia Regional Commission in his presence. He's taken some of his time, as usual, to be somewhere else, to recognize us, and let us recognize him. So thank you, Mr. Balky, for your presence.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Boyke. Thank you, Councilman, for catching that.
And
All right.
And Mayor, I got to say this because I forgot to, but my favorite part was American Woman. That was the most awesome song, and it just was so timely, and I really loved it. So Mandy told me it was like a group decision to do that, but that was a A+.
Thank you. They're really happy I didn't do my dance with it, but I'll get them on the next one. But thank you. All right, and with that, I will say the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.